everyone, my name is Natalie McCracken and I'm Director of Marketing at EarthOptics. And today I have with me Matt Dolly, who is with First Seed Trials. So he's here to tell us about a little bit of research that they're doing. So, Matt, thanks for being here today and talk to me about what First Seed is.
Yeah, thanks, Natalie. Thanks for having me on here. The first seed trials, we've been around for almost 30 years. Really, what we focus on is independent performance of seed genetics. We are putting out trials across the Midwest, everywhere from North Dakota to Kentucky and Ohio to Kansas, kind of all over the place, really with the intention of showing farmers how seed performs across there. So seed companies enter their products into our trials. We test them across all those different geographies, and then we publish the data for farmers to go ahead and use when making their seed decisions.
Wow, that's really cool. And so, how many sites, just off the top of your head, do you have going right now for 2025?
Yeah, so we kind of split it up within regions, and so we've got we want products to be tested in a region that makes sense. So similar maturity ranges, similar product types, similar practices, things like that. So we've got a variety of different regions around the country, but all ends up working out to be about 300 locations across the country that we're doing these trials at, and that's done by 14 different individual managers who are the ones out there doing the research, driving the tractor and putting in the plots and doing the hard work of making sure that we have independent data.
Okay, and so you and I just had a conversation a little earlier this week, and you started talking about how your trial reports are starting to come out right now. So, how long does that typically take? Like, what does that look like? So we can go to your website now, we can see some of these reports, but are they just going to keep going on throughout the fall?
Absolutely. Yeah. We pride ourselves on having the data out as almost as soon as we possibly can. Obviously, we got to do a little review on the data and make sure all the statistics are correct and all the boxes are filled, but we try to have our data out within 48 hours of harvest because really what we know that seed companies and farmers are having those conversations on what products they're going to be planting for the next year already here in the fall. So let's go ahead and get that data in the hands of farmers as soon as possible so farmers can use it. So we've started, harvest is rolling. We've got a few different reports in already, and there's many more to come yet. And so those will be coming out really quickly and pretty continuously here as we go through the harvest season. Best way to get that information, we've got an email that goes out every morning to our subscribers at like 5 o'clock in the morning that shows all the results from the previous day. So you can get that right in your inbox, decide which ones are most relevant to you as a farmer, or you can subscribe to all of them if you'd like. And then, of course, on our website, we've got all of our harvest reports are linked right there. There's a bunch of different tools that you can use to kind of sort through and find the data that's relevant to you and your operation. Really, once again, with the intention that farmers are able to use independent data to help make that seed decision.
Awesome. And so, just for everybody out there, you may be wondering why we have first seed trials on. And yes, very cool information. We want all of our farmers to across the Midwest and across the country to be able to have all of this information. But Earth Optics and First Seed actually partnered on this. You may have heard the release earlier this year that we put out that we were doing all of the sampling and then data for them in order to use for their trials. So when you're doing these trials, just talk to me a little bit about is it all about yield? Is it all about planting in, using our data to plant in things that you're seeing a little risky and you're like, hey, we better try this? Or is it purposely to say, we saw this data, we're going to like not follow it and see what happens, and then follow it somewhere else and see what happens? So talk to me a little bit about what you're looking at when you're deciding.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been really excited with the partnership with Earth Optics and your team there. Really, the way I look at it is when we're doing trials and we're trying to determine how a seed performs in a certain set of circumstances, we need to better understand what those circumstances are. And so that's where the partnership with Earth Optics, really the deep dive into what's happening in that soil, is really helpful there. So when a farmer is going through and looking at our reports, yes, they can see just a listing of how the different hybrids performed. But let's take a step deeper into that. Let's start looking. We've got the weather data. They can get that information and see what kind of conditions it was in. But because of our partnership with Earth Optics, we've got a dive into kind of soil fertility and some of the biological, the pests and pathogens stuff that's in the soil to a deeper level than we've ever had. So you can start looking at, how did this soybean perform in a situation where maybe there were some higher SEN counts, or maybe there's a corn hybrid that's performing better in a situation where we see a higher risk of tar spot, things like that, that we can start getting closer into understanding not only just what was that final yield number, but what were the conditions that were in place when that hybrid or variety performed. And that's really important, I think, from how a farmer makes those decisions. Farmers know their soil, know their farms. If we can go ahead and help them understand our plot locations, maybe they can use that information even more powerfully.
This is absolutely amazing. So, Matt, if somebody is interested in going and taking a look at these reports, what is the website that they can go to take a look at them?
Yeah, firstseedtest.com. So first, FIRST, seedtest.com is the place to go. Of course, we've got our social media platforms out there as well. You'll see a post about every day with any harvest reports, things like that, all the exciting news. But really, the best place is to go on firstseedtest.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, Matt. And everybody, again, this is an amazing opportunity to go see what they've been testing, conditions of soil, what they were planting into, and most importantly, what it yielded. I think everybody wants that data. So please make sure to check out their website. If you want to see what we do and you're not familiar with EarthOptics, go to www.earthoptics.com. Thanks so much.